up guys, Kim here of YugaTech, and earlier this month, we were in Jakarta for the Southeast Asian launch of the Realme 2. Today we're gonna be taking a more in-depth look at the Realme 2 Pro, and for us, the biggest question is, does this phone have what it takes to stand out in a mid-range segment that's already so saturated? Let's find out. This is a review of the Realme 2 Pro. Now, before we begin, I want to establish that the unit we're using for this review is the version with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, and it comes in the Black Sea color. To start things off, let's check out design. So I'm gonna be very blunt about this one. The Realme 2 is basically an OPPO F9, but not exactly. And if you've ever seen or held one, you would really be able to tell. You get the same 19.5:9 water drop screen, though Realme calls theirs the dewdrop screen. It's a really nice type of notch design that isn't as intrusive as the more traditional rectangular shape. The body is made of plastic like the F9, but it's a little bit thicker and heavier. On the right we have the power button, and on the left we have the volume buttons and card slot. The tray can accommodate 2 nano SIM cards and a micro SD card. Down below we have the down-firing speaker, good old micro USB port, main microphone, and headphone jack. The sides have this metallic finish that give you better grip, and looking at the back we get a glossy acrylic back, so we get a very shiny but not so much mirror-like finish. Overall, it looks very premium and elegant. At the back we find the dual 16MP plus 2MP rear cameras, LED flash, and fingerprint scanner that is positioned in just the right spot in the upper middle. Up front we have a 6.3-inch 1080p IPS display, and yes, it's the same size as the OPPO F9. The screen looks pretty good. The edges of objects and text are crisp and clear. Color reproduction is pretty good since this is an IPS panel, and it's bright, but even at maximum brightness, it's quite hard to use outdoors on a sunny day. As for audio quality, is just okay. It doesn't have front-facing stereo speakers, so I'm not really expecting much, but it's decent for casual listening. It does get loud, I'll give it that, but a big disappointment here is that earphones aren't included in the box. Oh well, at least there's a headphone jack. Okay, now cameras. The phone has dual AI cameras at the back, a 16MP Sony IMX398 sensor, and a 2MP secondary sensor. Up front, a 16MP sensor. The camera app is pretty good. It has features like time-lapse, HDR, beauty mode, panorama, portrait, manual mode, and more. But what's missing here that we would have liked to see is Google Lens. So shots taken with the rear cameras look pretty good, especially in daylight. They're sharp and have good dynamic range. Colors are pretty accurate, not too saturated or undersaturated. Portrait mode produces good bokeh, but it has a hard time focusing on your intended subject, so you need to tap focus a few times to get it right. Selfies are decent as well with good skin tones and sharpness. AI beauty mode does its job nicely with smoothing the skin and removing blemishes without looking too overdone. Low light shots are a bit underwhelming. Despite the f1.7 aperture, photos come out very muddy looking and noisy. There were some shots we got that are usable, though maybe this can be improved with a future software update. As for video, it can shoot up to 4K at 30fps. We also get image stabilization built in, which is awesome, because phones without it produce footages that's literally unusable if you're trying to do anything serious. Video is sharp, colors are nice, and just overall quality is pretty good. We do lack slow motion, which would have been nice, but at least there's still time-lapse. Now for the hardware powering the phone, we have a Snapdragon 660 and 8GB of RAM, which is a huge thing that sets this phone apart from the OPPO F9, which uses a Helio P60 chipset. The Snapdragon 660 is a very good mid-range chip that we've seen before in phones like the Xiaomi Mi A2, Vivo V11, and Cherry Mobile Flare S7 Plus. Games like PUBG Mobile, Mobile Legends, Asphalt 9, and Tekken are very playable with high graphic settings, though frame rates aren't as consistent as we'd like them to be. Frame drops are experienced here and there, and it's still very playable, but would recommend leaving graphic settings at medium for the best experience. The phone's software has this game space feature too that optimizes your phone's resource utilization to prioritize gaming and block notifications, and it actually works quite well. Looking at synthetic benchmarks, the phone scores quite well in Antutu at about 132,000 points, almost 8,000 in PC Mark Work 2.0, and also good scores in 3D Mark Slingshot Extreme, 1,200 in OpenGL, and almost 1,000 in Vulkan. Okay, looking at software now, the phone runs Android 8.1 Oreo skinned with ColorOS was 5.2. So again, if you're familiar with OPPO phones, then you'd feel right at home using the Realme 2 Pro. The style of icons is slightly different, but other than that, nothing has changed. We do still get the F9 Smart Sidebar feature that I haven't really been using a lot, but it's pretty handy to have quick access to certain apps. Lastly, let's talk about battery. We get 3,500 mAh of capacity, which is about typical for most mid-range phones in the scene today. I was able to use the phone for most of the day without needing to bring out my trusty power bank, and this includes taking lots of photos and playing games. In the PC Mark battery test, the phone got 8 hours and 21 minutes, which is a pretty low score, while it got 11 hours and 15 minutes in our video loop test, which isn't bad, but not great either. Alright guys, conclusion time. It's apparent that mid-range phones nowadays are getting more and more powerful while prices are getting more affordable. The Realme 2 Pro shows this a lot with its price tag of about 3.7 million Indonesian rupees, or around 13,000 pesos. For that price, you're basically getting most of the OPPO F9 specs for less money. Great! The Realme 2 Pro hasn't reached the Philippines yet, but by the time it comes, it will surely have its own spotlight. As for when it's arriving, we still don't know. But Realme has confirmed that they will have a presence in the country, so we just have to wait, I guess. What do you guys think about the Realme 2 Pro? Would you buy this instead of an OPPO F9? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like this video, you know where that thumbs up button is. Consider subscribing to our YouTube channel for more content. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified of our future uploads, and visit YugaTech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. Again, this is Kim, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!